Hello everyone. Today we're going to be reading our last and final chapter, chapter 12, titled Band-Aids and Ice Cream. We've met a lot of different characters throughout the story. We met Judy Moody, who's our main character, her brother Stink, her mom, dad, her best friend Rocky. She made friends with Frank, who she wasn't too crazy about in the beginning of the story, and Mr. Todd, her teacher. And Judy's gone on a lot of different adventures. We left off where Judy's me collage that her dad and brother were bringing to school for her was ruined by jungle juice by her brother, but she made the best of it and made the big purple stain into the state of Virginia, which is the state she lives in. So let's read Band-Aids and Ice Cream to see how this story ends. When Judy got back to class, she put on her doctor coat, walked to the front of the room, and held her meat collage high. She stood tall, as if her brother had not nearly ruined her masterpiece with jungle juice. She tried to look like a person who would grow up to be a doctor and make the world a better place. A person who could turn a bad mood right around. Judy told about herself and her family, including the time Stink sold moon dust, which explained why her brother was a piece of dirt. She traced the outline of Virginia with her finger to show where she lived. She talked about Rocky, her best friend, and Frank, her new friend. She pointed to a paste jar lid taped to a corner and told the class that Frank ate paste for a deer once. "Is that Jaws?" asked Brad, "the thing that eats bugs?" "Yes," said Judy. "Even though I have a cat, Jaws is my favorite pet. When I grow up and become a doctor, I want to move to the rainforest and search for medicines and rare plants that could cure yucky diseases." Judy pointed out the pizza table for Mr. Todd and the other stuff she collected for hobbies. She told the class that she was a member of the TP Club, but she couldn't tell them what TP stood for. "This is a picture my parents took of Stink standing outside the White House in his flag costume," and she explained why it was the worst thing that ever happened to her. Everybody's favorite part of her collage was when she showed the doll hand coming out of a magazine toilet. So Judy told them about how the worst thing ever turned into the funniest thing ever. "Any questions?" she asked the class. "Who's the old lady?" asked Frank. Judy explained about Elizabeth Blackwell, first woman doctor, and then gave a demonstration of her doctor skills. Now, if you look at the word demonstration, a demonstration is an act of showing how something is made, used, or done. So she's showing the class how she has some doctor skills. She's demonstrating it to them. She put Rocky's arm in a sling and wrapped bandages around Frank's knee. She pulled out her pretend blood and used Hedda Get Better to show how to apply Band-Aids. "That's it, me, Judy Moody." "Great job, Judy," said Mr. Todd. "Class, any comments?" Now, if we look at the word comments, it's another word we want to focus on. Comments are statements made about something someone has shared. Okay, a lot of times I'll ask you if you have any questions, and a lot of times you guys don't have questions, but you share things that have happened to you. You tell me things about stuff that has happened in your life or at home with your family. So they're statements made about something someone has shared. "I like how you painted Virginia in the middle of your collage to show where you live," said Jessica Finch, "instead of just using a picture of your house." "Those tattoo Band-Aids are the coolest," said Dylan. "I have a blister. Can I have one?" "I have a hangnail. I have a paper cut. I have a mosquito bite." Before Judy knew it, everybody in the whole class was wearing tattoo Band-Aids. "Judy Moody, you're a mover and a shaker," said Mr. Todd. "I am," asked Judy. "What's that mean?" Mr. Todd laughed. "Let's just say it means you have imagination." What had almost become a bad mood Friday had turned into one very fine day, and it wasn't over yet. When she walked out to get the bus that afternoon, Mom and Dad were waiting to take Judy and Stink for ice cream at Screamin' Mimmy's. "I'm getting that blue ice cream, Rainforest Mist, like you guys always do." Stink jumped up and down, holding his pocket with the toad. "Did your teacher like Toady?" Judy asked. "Yes, but she was almost in the Toad Pea Club," said Stink. Judy cracked up. "Mom, Dad, can I ask Rocky and Frank to come too?" "That's a great idea," Mom said. Outside Screamin' Mimmy's, Judy licked her Rainforest Mist scoop on top of chocolate mud, her favorite. She was in her best Judy mood ever. Stink took Toady out of his pocket and set him on the picnic table. Toady hopped toward a blue drip from Rocky's ice cream cone. Toady likes rainforest mist, said Rocky. Hey, Frank, Judy asked, when are you going to finish your me collage? Mr. Todd said I could bring it in on Monday. You're not done yet, asked Rocky. I still don't have anything for clubs. The dictionary says a club is 3 or more people. Judy looked at Rocky looked at Stink, and Stink looked at Judy. All 3 of them looked at Frank. If you pick up Toady right now, you could be in a club, said Judy. Really, said Frank? Asked Frank. Really and truly, said Judy and Rocky at the same time. Frank crinkled his nose. I don't get it. Okay, crinkled means when you form small, thin lines on the surface, so like he scrunched up his nose and it had like wrinkles in it. Rocky laughed. You will. Frank scooped up Toady with one hand. Use both hands, said Judy. Like this, said Rocky, cupping his hands. Cupping is when you take your hands and put them into a rounded shape together. So if you put your hands next to each other and round them out, that's cupping your hands. Just hold him a minute, said Stink. I still don't get it, said Frank. Oh, you'll get it, said Judy, Rocky, and Stink. A second later, Frank felt something warm and wet in his hand. He crossed his eyes, and they all fell down laughing. So I'm guessing Frank is now a member of the TP Club. And that's how our story ends. It looks like Judy made some great friends with Frank and obviously her best friend Rocky. And she does, like her Mr. Todd said, she has quite the imagination and quite an adventurous little life. So we had 4 vocabulary words in that chapter. We had comments, which are statements made about something someone has shared. We had crinkled. That's a K, a very messy one. Crinkled is when you form small, thin lines on the surface, when it's like wrinkled. Cupping is when you curve your hands into a rounded shape. And then a demonstration. And a demonstration is the act of showing how something is made, used, or done. So you're going to go answer questions on this last chapter with the vocabulary words and some questions on the chapter. And then tomorrow you're just going to take a quick quiz on the whole story with just some basic questions about character, setting, problem, and solution throughout the story.